kind of changing. COVIA is our umbrella organization, and COVIA just affiliated with Front Porch. So we are now part of Front Porch. Front Porch is, as Janice said, a provider of mostly housing throughout California, largely senior housing, but some family housing as well as affordable housing. And they have a lot of sites in Southern California, and COVIA has sites in Northern California. So we've come together. That gives you a little bit about where we are, what our mission statement is, and where we're located. We have a cluster of stuff in Northern California that is COVIA, and Southern California, which is Front Porch. And so together we have this organization across California that provides housing. But what I want to talk about today is not our housing, because I don't know too much about that. I'm here to talk about our community services division and one of the programs in our community services division. So Well Connected is the program I'm talking about today, and it's one of a handful of programs that we provide to the community. And you can find out more on our website if you're interested in other stuff that we do. So Well Connected is a virtual creative engagement, social engagement program for older adults, 60 plus, anywhere in the United States. Everything is accessible by phone or online. It's designed by and for older adults. So our programming, as you'll hear, is largely provided by trained volunteers. So if you hear of anything that's interesting to you and you want to talk to me later about that, I'd be delighted to talk to you about volunteering as well. Our volunteers are really the lifeblood of our community. We consider ourselves a community, even though we're virtual. We have been around since 2004, so that's about 17 years now. The funny thing is that I used to have to explain to people what a virtual community was. And since the pandemic, everybody kind of gets that now. You don't have to leave your home to be connected to others. And we've been doing that for 17 years. So we were kind of primed for the pandemic, honestly. We've always been doing it this way, and we continued all the way through. So you can stay connected to others from the comforts of your own home. We're a free program. I mentioned our umbrella organization. Our umbrella organization is a nonprofit organization. And so all of those community services programs I mentioned are provided free to the community. We consider it just part of our mission to give back. And we do a lot of fundraising and donation drives and all kinds of stuff to make these programs free and accessible to anyone. So Well Connected is, as I said, a virtual program. We meet by phone or online. We have a bunch of different things going on. We have conversations, we have learning programs, we have support groups, we have sort of more lecture style. And we recently, I said we've been around for 17 years, which is true. We couple years ago, I think it's 2 years ago now, we also launched a sister program in Spanish. So for native Spanish speakers, we have a sister program en Espanol, and the entire thing is in Spanish. And they have lots of really great programming on the Spanish side too. This is a sample of what our calendar looks like. And it's a partial calendar. We have programming, as Janice said, 365 days a year. So what's a little bit different about Well Connected, as opposed to walking into a senior center that's bricks and mortar, is that we're here every single day of the year, including Christmas Day, New Year's Day, whatever holiday you can think of. And we're available from about 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. to about 7 p.m. Pacific time, every single one of those days. So we have a packed calendar. We have programming that is a couple different, I like to think that there's something for everyone, right? So we have more than 100 things going on every single week. I think we're up to about 140 this time around. And there's a real variety there. Some of our programming is what we call sort of a lifelong learning experience. And that's where you might want to come and just listen to a presentation style like this with a little bit of Q&A at the end. And some of those groups are in the little black boxes on this sample calendar here. One of our most popular groups on Well Connected is our Museums at Home series. So I'll tell you a little bit about that. We have partnerships with world-class museums across the United States to provide virtual exhibitions of their either permanent or temporary exhibitions led by trained docents with those affiliated with those museums. So if you can't make it to New York MoMA, you can join New York MoMA on Well Connected. We have fabulous museums, fabulous docents. They're bringing you their live exhibitions. So even if you could get to New York and see New York MoMA's stuff, we have museums across the country, including San Francisco. So if you like going to the De Young, but it's really hard for you to get to the De Young, you can go check out what's on the De Young on Well Connected, and you don't have to get out of your pajamas to do it. So it really is, that's one of my favorite programs. So I do love to rave about that one. It's fabulous. So some of the other things we do are the bulk of what we do. When I said that the bulk of what we do is led by and for our trained volunteers, those are our discussion groups. And those discussion groups are around a theme or a topic. They're led by one of our trained volunteers. So every single activity we do on Well Connected is led by someone, right? So it's not just everybody just gets on the phone and chats. We have a trained facilitator who's going to guide the discussion. And those discussions could be around, they could be traditional, clubs like you think of at a senior center. You might join a book club. You could do brain games. Lots of people like to play games on Well Connected. So we have a lot of game programs. You can even play bingo, which, I know that's like such a stereotypical activity to do. And we keep thinking we're not going to do bingo. But every time we think about not doing bingo, like people have a riot. So you can play bingo. It's not my favorite thing to do, but some people are just obsessed with it. So there's all kinds of things you can do. You can write a poem. We have great creative writing groups. We have a couple of published authors who lead groups on Well Connected, and they're really fabulous. So you can actually study how to, the mechanics of writing with our published authors. We have a poet on our program who leads our poetry workshop, for instance. He's a published poet. He's fabulous. And he can guide you through the process of writing your own original poetry. And then at the end of that, of every session, we actually publish an anthology of our original creative writing that our participants have written, and then we send that to everyone. So that's a really special one too. So there really is something for everyone. And one of the simpler things we do, which you may think is just such a simple idea, is our gratitude groups. Now, gratitude is a really special place on Well Connected. We all love gratitude so much that we do it about 17 times a week. You can start your day off with sharing a gratitude. You can have your lunch over gratitude, and then you can even show up at 7 a.m. And join those East Coasters to share your early morning gratitudes. Gratitude is a really simple but effective place. This ends up being one of our sort of more intimate groups. It's usually a little smaller, and it's really simple. The concept is just to share something you're grateful for. What's really powerful about gratitude, though, and you may have heard this, is that when one routinely shares what one is grateful for, it actually makes you feel good, and it's good for your mental health and actually your physical health too. So there's actually been research on this, that if you routinely share in the practice of sharing gratitudes, either verbally with someone or even writing down your gratitudes, and we do have journaling groups where you can write about things you're grateful for. But if you share something that you're grateful for, it's a really powerful way of improving your emotional and physical health. So I want to invite you to try this out. It's a really easy thing to do. And we've got a small enough group that you can maybe even all take a turn. And so I'll start you off. What we usually do is we call on people one at a time, and you get a few minutes to share what you're grateful for today. So I am grateful to be here today. I'm grateful to be with all of you. And I am grateful that my whole family is almost fully vaccinated. And we are hoping, I'm grateful that 2021 will be the year that we get back to our regular lives and some kind of normalcy. So would anyone else like to share what they're grateful for today? You can unmute yourself. Just click on that little microphone symbol and unmute yourself and share your gratitude. Go ahead, Janice. I know you want to. She's looking for her microphone. You're muted.
Okay. I just wanted to say that I'm grateful to be here, number one. And I'm grateful to have my neighbors that I do here in my little community where I live. My neighbors are the just most wonderful neighbors anybody could ask for. So I feel very fortunate every day to have them. And as I say, and just being here in my little area where I live, it's just a little circle community. Not many of us, but and we're all very pretty close. And almost all of us have animals, dogs anyway. And so we walk our dogs, and we meet in the street every day to talk and chat. And so we're never alone here. There's always somebody to talk to or to invite over. You know, it's just a really lovely little place. And I'm really grateful to be here.
That is wonderful. That does sound like a really welcoming community that you have there. I love that you have that, Joanne. That's wonderful.
It is a nice community, yes.
Yeah, that's great. Anyone else?
No. I'm grateful that the wind stopped blowing.
The Benicia breeze.
Honestly, it's just been going on and on and on. Just, you know, I've never known it for such a long time. I mean, obviously I'm used to it, but not the way it's been. And even my hot tub cover flew off last night. You know, so it was amazing. Yeah, it must have been pretty bad. Anyway, I'm grateful that it's such a beautiful day out there today. So.
I agree with you. I love that breeze, but yeah, it's been pretty blowing out there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm grateful that we finished planting our veggie garden this week that's been working on for a month. And now we can just walk up and down the sides of the garden and say hello to everybody. The squashes and the tomatoes, and it's really nice to see.
Nice. That's awesome. Love that. I love fresh grown. I love those fresh grown tomatoes too. There's nothing like the taste.
Well, I'll say something. Okay. I'm grateful to see Annette, because actually when I saw Annette's picture with our listing on our events page, I realized that she sings in the Vallejo chorus, and she's a fellow alto, and I haven't seen her in a year. And we've been doing the chorus on Zoom, and Annette hasn't been part of that. But so it's a real pleasure to see you, Annette, and to see what you do, to get to learn what you're doing and how it really fits. You know, it's something that adds on to the kind of thing that we do as Carquinez Village. And I'm also very grateful for this weather. I love it when it's a little cooler, and I sleep so well at night, and I'm nice and cozy and warm in bed. I just love that feeling. And the beautiful blue skies. It's just right. The color, the flowers. And I've added some new things to my flower bed outside, and I have this lovely Cocoa Hulls mulch that I put on it. If you haven't used Cocoa Hulls mulch, I highly recommend it. It smells like cocoa, and it makes a beautiful mulch for your garden anyway. So I just love the way the garden looks. I can look at it from my bedroom in the morning. I can look down and see all the colors. And
Diane, you get that? Where do you get the mulch?
Well, I used to be able to get it at Mid-City Nursery. I
Right.
think major nurseries would carry it. But
Uh-oh.
they weren't getting it this year for some reason from their distributor. So I ordered it on Amazon.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll look for it then.
Put it
Thank
on
you.
Amazon.
Thank you. I'd like to have some of that. Yeah. I'm going to mute me so my dog will.
Thank you, Diane. I know it was so lovely to see your face this morning. I was so glad to reconnect and with you, and hopefully we'll be singing in person soon. And yeah, this is a wonderful time of year. I love spring. Did you want to share, Cynthia?
Sure. I think I'm unmuted. I'm grateful for my friend Janice, who did me a big favor this morning. Thank you, Janice.
You're welcome.
And that my husband's in a good mood. He's working on the house, and so hopefully we'll get this house finished after 40 years. Yay! he just left to go to the lumber yard, so I can say that.
That is great. Got to be grateful for your husbands.
You'll have to have a house.
If you have them.
Most of the time.
Most of the time, right?
4 days out of 5.
Anyone else? Would you other ladies like to share? Janice, Krista, or Lois?
Sure, I would. Yeah, I just got home from a trip, and it's really nice to be home. So I'm grateful for my home, and my garden is really flourishing, which means there's also work to do out there. But I really enjoy being able to get out and work, and I'm gonna buy the mulch that Diane recommended.
Right.
So I'm grateful for my garden.
All right. Well, you got to experience a taste of what we do every single day, twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. It's just one of the real simple things. It's just a half-hour group on Well Connected. And so whoever shows up in that half hour, we just sort of talk about what we're grateful for. And it's amazing how good it makes you feel, right? I mean, didn't you enjoy just feeling good about something and feeling grateful? And that is really a really powerful feeling that it gives you. And honestly, I'm telling you, they have actually researched it, and it is good for your health. I'm just going to do a tiny segue into our social call program, because these two kind of work a little bit hand in hand. Well Connected and Social Call, that is. Social Call is a separate program. It's a sister program. We have separate staff that work in this program, but it's also phone-based, and it provides a one-on-one weekly friendly visit by phone. So while Well Connected does these group activities, Social Call is really a one-on-one. And it provides a lot of, you could have an intergenerational match then in Social Call, because volunteers who volunteer in this program could be any age over the age of 18. You could also be matched up with someone of a peer. And we also try to really make intentional matches based on interests and personality. So if you have a particular joy, like maybe it's singing or gardening or something like that, we can try and match you up with people that have similar interests around the United States. So that's just a quick plug for that. If you either want to receive a call or make a call, I encourage you to check that one out as well. It's a really simple thing to do. It's really easy to volunteer. Again, you don't have to leave your home, and we would just set you up with someone who really is looking for some companionship. Our programs then are about accessibility. I mentioned not having to leave your house or get out of your pajamas. And that's kind of big. Sometimes it's really hard for people to leave their home. They may have transportation issues, mobility issues, chronic conditions, health issues. You know all of that. You know all of the things that make it hard to get around. So Well Connected prides itself on being accessible, and we try to bend over backwards to be as accessible to everyone as we can. The materials that we have are lovely, like our printed materials. That sample of the calendar I showed you, we do make those available on audio and by Braille for folks who are blind or low vision. All of our groups are accessible by phone, and that will always be the case. I know that a bunch of people have figured out how to use Zoom in the past year, and Zoom is great. We love Zoom, and we have also our own platform that does video conferencing as well. But all of our programs will always be available by phone. And the reason for that is, as you know, we've got a whole like digital divide out there, and people who aren't able to get online, or who don't have the resources to get online, or the training or the help to get online, because it's a bit of a hurdle. So as I said, virtual communities are out there now, and I don't have to like really explain this too much to people anymore, but we do make our programs available by phone or online. The phone piece is really easy. We make it simple for people to use. We have a 2-digit conference coding system. So all of those groups I mentioned, all you got to do is call in, enter the 2-digit code, and there you are, you're with your group. If you sign up for your group in advance, we know who you are, so we'll welcome you on. We have name recognition. So when you call in and it's the time for your group, we would say, well, welcome, Lois. Welcome to Well Connected. Here's your group. We do, as I mentioned, have some language capacity. We fully built out that Spanish speaking program, and we're very proud about that. We'd love to include other languages if we ever get money to do other languages. We're also planning on building out fully closed caption and screen reader accessibility for our online users for our online experience. So while Zoom has that, and we do use Zoom for some of our work, we also have our own platform where we're building out all of that accessibility.
Wow.
So what are the benefits of, Why would you do this? And this is also kind of a no-brainer. I mean, I used to have to explain this to people, but you know that when you don't see people, it really is detrimental to your health and well-being. It really, and we know this now. I mean, we knew this before the pandemic, but now it kind of really hit home, right? We knew in my line of work, we knew this before the pandemic, that if you were socially isolated and not engaged with others, your health was going to start to suffer. There's one very famous study that says that a lack of social connection is as bad as smoking a certain number of cigarettes a day. It's an oft quoted study, but it's there's a lot of research that's out there now about the lack of social connection being bad for your health. Not only your emotional, mental health, but your physical health too. It has an impact because everything kind of cascades. So these are the results that we have from our own participants survey. We do survey our members. And so these are some of the things that they tell us, that yes, they do feel that they're heard. They do feel that they have increased social connections. They have intellectual stimulation. They're not as lonely, and they do have improved physical and mental health. So from our own results, as well as from empirical research that's out there, we know that being connected is good for you. And it's vital. We're like, we're human beings belong with other human beings. I mean, this is not news. We used to live in small communities, and our extended families used to live in the same house or very, very close with each other. And that's what people need. That's what human beings need. We're social beings. So the whole myth of the Marlboro man, riding off into the sunset is a myth. You cannot live alone. We know that. And I love Joanne has this built-in network. They meet every day out in the street with their dogs, and we need that as people. So you've already figured it out probably, but yeah, we are not meant to live by ourselves, and so social connection is really important. So how does it work? How does Well Connected work? You do have to sign up with us in advance. So we're not, even though we're a free program, it's not a free for all. So I'm not going to tell you all of our secret codes to get into those groups. You do have to call us and sign up. And that's for a couple of reasons. I mean, we have to know who it is we're serving. We have to send you one of these catalogs that we produce 3 times a year. It's a lovely catalog with all of the groups that we're offering. So we ask you for a little bit of information about yourself. So we ask you to sign up. You can do that either by phone, which most people do. You can do it online. You can ask us to mail you a handwritten form, and you can fill it out and mail it back to us. However you feel like communicating with us, we'll communicate with you. So it's easy to do. Most folks just call our office and speak with our lovely Emma, and she talks to folks all day long. When you do sign up with us, then we do send you that welcoming packet. So it includes this lovely catalog. It includes the calendar of all the activities and those secret codes I mentioned. And then all you got to do is pick up the phone and call into something that strikes your fancy. Or you can join us online. Joining online is a little bit more complicated. You have to tell us what you want to join online, and then we sign you up for the group. Then you get an email. You know, it's just like joining this Zoom group that you did today. So it just takes a little bit more of an effort because you've got to look for your email and click on the link and do all that jazz. And so here's our contact information. We have one single phone number for our office. You can email us. You can go online, check us out. You can check out that catalog I mentioned is also posted on our webpage. So if you go to that webpage that's listed on here, you can look at there's a bubble that says download the catalog or something. And so you can look at that catalog and read all of the descriptions of all of the groups that we offer. So you can check that out online. And I mentioned volunteering already. I mentioned social call. And if you want to just call someone once a week and spend half an hour of your time just talking to someone who needs someone to talk to, you can do that. Or you can volunteer with us at Well Connected. I mentioned that the bulk of our programming is led by our trained volunteers. So if you really enjoy being in a group and leading a group, and if you have an idea for a group, then I'm the person to talk to, and I would be happy to get you started. I generally recommend that folks sort of check out a few of our groups and just sort of listen in and see how it works and how it sounds and the way our other facilitators facilitate a group. But I provide you with training. I provide you with ongoing support. And our volunteers are really wonderful. Some of them spend a huge amount of time planning their groups. I have one person who's a PhD psychologist, and she does a whole bunch of research. And then we have folks who facilitate those gratitude groups for you, right? And I just showed you how to do that. So that's an easy one to do. So if you have an idea for a group, whether it's crocheting or Black history or whatever your thing is, I'm sure there's a spot for you on Well Connected. The other quick thing I'm going to plug is our Creative Aging Symposium. This is an annual event that's in January. Usually we spend all year trying to figure it out because it's a half-day long event. So it's like going to a mini conference. And the theme is all about creative aging. So it's how to get your creative juices going, and not creative in terms of like you have to be a painter or be able to play the piano. Just how to use creativity in our lives, just to enrich our lives, and bring all of those creative juices to problem solving and to just the process of getting older, like we all are. So I'll just put a quick plug in for that. And that's available to anyone. You don't have to be a member of Well Connected to join our Creative Aging Symposium. You can just go to that website and register and sign up. So it's kind of open to anybody just to check out. And we have really fabulous speakers on there. Last time we have had artists and philosophers and poets, but last time we had this woman in New York, and she I can't remember her name. I'd have to find her on social media, but she's like this famous, like older woman who is like a fashion diva. And she's all over social media. I have to find her. She designs her own, clothing and jewelry. And she just talked about her whole process and about how getting out of bed in the morning and getting dressed is a creative act. And she was so fabulous. So anyway, they're just really, really cool people if you want to just have some fun at the Creative Aging Symposium. And then there's my contact information for the program on the last slide. And I'd be happy to entertain any questions you might have.
So, Annette?
Yeah.
So you mentioned membership. So do we have to join? How does that work?
You do have to sign up. So it's not a membership in terms of like with a fee or a subscription or anything like that. It is completely free, but we do have to know who you are. So you have to call us or go online or whatever. You have to register with us. So you have to sign up. You have to give us a little bit of demographic information about yourself, your name and where you live and your phone number and your email and, stuff like that. And then we mail you all the information that you need to join, including, like I mentioned, the catalog, the calendar, the instructions on how you do it. We send you the calendar in like a large print so you can read it. It's like, morning groups on the front and afternoon groups on the back. Those come with all the code, with the phone numbers and all the codes so that you can just call in and just start talking to people. But you do have to sign up first and then get all of that information either in the mail or by email. We can shoot you it all by email if you prefer to do it that way, but most people like to have the paper.
Okay, there was another. Oh, age. Is there an age?
There's not an age maximum, but there is an age minimum. So you got to be you got to be 60 years plus.
60.
We have on occasion made a couple of exceptions for people who aren't quite 60, but we have people, generally speaking, it from 60 to about 100. And I want to say we had a couple of centenarians have birthdays in the past couple of years that I've been with the program. And so they've got to be older than 100 now. I think probably 101 or 102 is our oldest.
So your minimum is 60?
Yes.
Can I ask you how many members that you do have, and how do you pay for all of this if nobody is giving you any money?
Yeah, good questions. We actually have a couple thousand people registered with us across the country in every state except for South Dakota. So if you are going to South Dakota, let me know. You can take some of our materials with you and leave them in a library or something, because we've got to get that last state. These groups really vary in size as well. So some groups, like, if you're on gratitude at 7 a.m. on a Thursday morning, it might be a smaller group. There might be like, 10 people. If you're on our museum group and it's New York MoMA or Frida Kahlo or something like, super popular, then there could be 100 people. So the groups really vary, but on average, it's a manageable size group to have conversations. So we do have a lot of members, but not everybody participates in every single thing every day. So, if we've got more than 100 things going on, then it really just depends on what it is. You just sort of pick and choose what you want to do. And we pay for all this with a lot of, we spend a lot of, we have a very small staff, and then we also have help from our umbrella organization who does do fundraising for us. So we do fundraising just like any other nonprofit. We're always out there chasing, grants. We chase grants, we chase institutional funders, we chase individual donors. We have a large individual donor base. And we also do, we'll beg, borrow, and we don't steal, but we do a lot of just like every other nonprofit does. We write a lot of grant applications, and we go out there and ask for donations.
Do you have grant writers then? Someone who does that for you?
We have our director spends a lot of time writing grants, and we do have a tiny foundation, and they help us with seeking out grant opportunities. So yeah, we do a lot of grant writing.
How do you communicate with 100 people on the phone? I mean, how would you know who's speaking next, and how does that work?
Well, if it is 100 people, it's not really an intimate conversation. So if it's our museum group, and that would be the instance where we have 100 people. If it's a museum group, and what we do in that case is, we're going to listen, just like we are today. We're going to listen to our speaker for most of that time. And it's going to be, we're going to see the exhibition, right? And then we're going to have a little bit of time for Q&A at the end. And that's when the moderator of that group will just take a couple questions for the speaker. So it's not a ton of like back and forth with a group that large, obviously. Now, our smaller groups, our facilitators are really, really good at managing group not only do we provide them with that training, but we also have that ongoing support. And we talk a lot about how do you manage a group? How do you manage it how do you manage a group that's virtual, that's on the phone? Because you have a lot of people who can't see each other, so you don't have those visual cues. But our facilitators are really good at managing the audio so that it's an experience that's welcoming, where everyone has a chance to participate to the extent that they want to, and where we try to have one person not dominate the conversation either. So our facilitators are just really good at that. They're just really good at managing a group and managing the conversation.
Because it's hard enough on the Zoom when there's 20 people and we all want to say something. So I can't even imagine what it would be like on a phone when you don't even know who's speaking next, or who is speaking, or I don't know how you would do that.
Well, we do have
person. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. It's exactly about the nuts and bolts. We do have a little bit of a protocol with Well Connected. So our facilitators will remind people if they don't do this, but we always say that you got to say your name first before you speak, so that everyone knows who's speaking. Sometimes when you have a large group, and if you have everyone who wants to talk, or if you have 2 or 3 people who start talking at once, then the facilitator might step in and go, okay, we're going to start with Helen, then we'll go to Cynthia, and then we'll get Joanne. Right. So they're really good at just managing the flow.
Yeah, quite difficult.
So this number on the page is where we would get a hold of you.
Yes, I won't actually answer you'll actually get Emma. If you call that number, you'll get Emma. She's lovely. She can sign you up. She'll answer all your questions about how it works. She can, like I said, sign you up, get the packet out in the mail to you, explain how it all works. So yeah, Emma will take care of you. She's a sweetheart.
Thank you.
Yeah, we do have that online registration too. So if you go to our webpage, there is a button where it'll say, I forget what it says, like sign up or register or something. There's a button. You can click on it, and then you get a form that you just basically you fill out the form and click save, and then it just sends it to us.
So is there any more questions?
I think I would like to see it in action sometime. Try it just
well,
you
know what? One other quick thing I didn't mention, and that's we do have a subscription service, and I don't know if this would work for you guys or not, but we have a portion of our programming that we share with organizations for a small fee. And that would be like our programs like the museum group, for instance, right? So where you have a presenter and you have content and you want to share to a group. So if you're in a housing community or a senior center and you want to just use our material, like I say, you can sign up for that service. And then at the day and time of when the museum's on, if you've got a group of people in a lecture hall or conference room or whatever, you can set up, you can set up a large screen TV or a screen or whatever, all you need is an internet and a screen, and we can help you, figure that out and how you set it up. But you can sign up for our group level subscription. So I don't know if you ever do, stuff like that in person at the village, but some housing communities or senior centers do make use of that if they just need they need an activity to plug in, or just want to use our museum series or our travel series. Then they do that.
I mean, it sounds to me like your organization is like 100 times bigger than what we are. And I'm kind of concerned that, we don't want to duplicate things that are already being done. And that's very important to us that we don't do that. And seeing all the things that you're doing, I mean, we do a lot of those things in a much smaller scale. And I'm really concerned because, we're duplicating stuff here. Very much so.
Our members to them, is that what you're saying? We can't afford to lose our members.
Well,
yeah,
no,
I think,
yeah, go ahead.
but I think, Helen, the difference is we are dealing with a geographical restricted community.
Yes.
They're dealing with
Yes.
people all over the country. I mean, you might be paired with somebody for a phone call who lives in another state.
Right.
Whereas, our volunteers are right
Right
here
here.
with our
Yes.
members.
Yes.
And so doing friendly phone calls with them gives an opportunity for a
Which is
further
what we do.
relationship to develop and everything. And we are more a different kind of concept. I think it's a different kind of concept than this is. A little bit different than what we are, because just because there's a pandemic, we're doing all these things online. Normally, they'd all be in-person events, people,
Yes.
potlucks
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
So I think it's a different kind of thing.
Okay.
Really
Yeah.
different myself.
And honestly, I would think of it in terms of being complementary rather than reinventing the wheel. You can never have too many opportunities to do stuff and it's just another option. So
I mean, we spend a lot of time trying to encourage people to do all these things, and then you see that they're already out there, that you can do all those things anyway. It's kind of it makes it look rather hard. I think, because you try so hard in your community to bring everybody together, and I'm saying here that we can just sit on the phone and have it all done that way. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but Helen, it's not the same.
I know it's not the same, but
I agree with Diane. Ours is more intimate, like,
yeah.
For example, I have meditation group, and the same group meets every week. I mean, it attracts a certain people, and we have, this close, we've over the year developed a close relationship with them. So it's more intimate, but and also we have potlucks, and we're starting picnics, and so we're starting with seeing each other. And the other thing is that we provide a service where we take people to the doctor.
Right.
And
can't do that.
So more intimate, stay at home kinds of activities that we do besides
the educational stuff and
It's true. I mean, it's true. We have that too. We've been around for so long that we have members who have been with us for more than a decade, and even from the very beginning. And so they have gotten to know each other really well. We definitely have relationships that have developed. We have people who say that their best friend is one of the other participants on Well Connected, even though they've never met.
Even though they've never met.
Even though they've never met. Yeah, we have folks who, we have folks all over the place, and we have folks who aren't able to, get out and about. So I wouldn't say that that's the majority, but we do have people who, without Well Connected, wouldn't have any connections at all in their life. And so it is incredible. It's an incredibly powerful experience for them to be able to meet with others on the phone and get to know others and still stay socially engaged.
I know we tried to do something on the phone. I tried to do bingo on the phone with somebody once, and that was it was a total disaster, really. But and obviously you've got this phone system down,
Yeah.
because this is something we don't have, is a phone system really, that we can have people to. I mean, we say yes, you can join from the Zoom on the phone, etc.
It's really hard.
But it's
really
not
hard.
easy, and it sounds like you've got it down that everybody can just
do.
pick up the phone and get straight onto a
We do.
program.
We do. One thing I forgot to mention too on the accessibility thing, we know that our own system, our own platform will actually do this automated call out to people if they want it. So, and that is really popular with some people. It's really helpful for people who have mobility issues in their fingers. They can't dial the phone, or if they're blind, or if they even are starting to have memory issues.
Wow.
So if you call us and let us know, okay, I want to join bingo on Saturday morning, but I want you to call me, we can do that. So we just plug it in, and then the system calls you 2 minutes before the group. You get your call, it says it's well connected, press 1. All you got to do is press 1, and then you're in your group. And that is, it's just a really nice accessibility feature for folks. And that's what we're about. We're about being accessible at the very lowest level of technology and connection, because it's all about connecting with other people and staying socially engaged.
And can I ask if your staff are paid, or is it all volunteer?
Well, our staff are paid. So if you're a member, if you're an employee like I am, then yeah, you're an employee. But but folks who are running our groups are mostly, well, they're all volunteer. Every single person who's running a group on Well Connected is a volunteer. Even if they're a professional, they're volunteering their time with us. So, like in some cases, I have professionals who run groups, like let's say it's a depression and anxiety group. Well, I'm not going to ask a volunteer to do that. I'm going to bring on a professional who has, the skills to handle a group like that. That person is not being paid. I mean, they might be paid if it's on their regular, schedule and their boss said that they could do it, but we don't pay them to do that. So yeah, all of the programming is volunteer provided.
Interesting.
It's amazing.
I know, I'm blown away, really.
It really is amazing, and I encourage you to try it out. It really is an amazing experience. I'll tell you one little story before I let y'all go. This was my first experience of listening into a group on Well Connected, because you hear about it and you're like, okay, all right, I get it, but you don't really get it until you actually do it. So here was my very first experience. I called into a group called Writers Read. It's a special culminating event of all of those creative writing groups I talked about, where writers can come and just share their work with people, with what they've been working on for the whole session, right? That whole semester. So they come and read their work. So I called in, I'm at home because I was not working that day. Call in, I'm listening, and the folks had been given a prompt to write about their mothers. So one minute I was laughing, one minute I was crying. My kid walked by and was like, "Mom, are you okay? Are you all right?" I'm like, yeah, it's okay. But you can imagine it was such a moving experience. I still get goosebumps every time I think about it, because some people had written like incredibly wonderful, they had loving, wonderful relationships that they had written about with their mothers. And then there was this one person who had like a really, really hard, horrible relationship with his mother. And I mean, you can imagine, it was amazing. It was an amazing experience. And those things are just happening every day on our program, and it still moves me to think that folks are, there are folks who are really sharing their lives, sharing their souls with each other, and it just really is it's a beautiful thing. And, you know, I don't want you to think that it's all like heavy. I'm just getting like emotional just thinking about that one thing. But, you know, we have from the light to the heavy, you know, you can play bingo and you can really delve into the, you know, the heavier stuff and the more intimate stuff. We've had groups on death and dying. We've had, and we still play bingo and do brain games. So, you know, there's, like I said, there's something for everybody, but it really is a special place.
What's your percentage of males to females?
Mostly female.
Yeah, we are too.
You know that. You knew that.
I
You knew
just
that.
thought you might be reaching more men. That's all I was.
We would love more men. Sometimes, you know, when we meet as staff, you know, we'll do these, like, we'll have like a strategy, you know, meeting once a year or something. And that usually comes up. How do we get more men? We do have some men. We have this wonderful man who facilitates several groups for us. And I swear his name's Andy. He is just, everybody falls in love with this guy. I mean, none of us have ever met him in person, but oh my God. I mean, he's just so wonderful. He has this way. I mean, he has this way, I swear. I don't know how he does it, but he makes every person feel so special. I don't know how he does it. He's an amazing character. Yeah, so we have a couple men. We have a couple of really special men. We have, oh my God, we have this poet in San Francisco. He's also a published poet. He reads his work on Wednesday afternoon, and his voice is like chocolate. It is like, oh my God. He has a gorgeous voice. So I think a lot of the women enjoy listening to him.
I have a question, Annette, about, you mentioned something about some of your programs that you can share with other organizations for a fee. Can you say a little bit more about that and how that works?
Yeah, so that would be more of our lifelong learning type groups where you're just listening in to learn something, and there might be a little bit of Q&A at the end. So it's things like, we have a travel series, we have a museum series, we have a tech and culture series, we have an open studios series where we bring in, you know, artists to talk about their work. I'm trying to think if there's another one. Anyway, so those groups are less about sort of the interaction and more about just learning something with a little bit of Q&A at the end. We offer a subscription for those. So we have a very affordable, if you're a nonprofit, a very affordable rate where you can sign up each session and you pay a small fee for that. And then we coach you on how to, now it is all live programming on Well Connected. So you would, you know, if museums is Wednesday at 11, then it's on at Wednesday at 11. You've got to do the group when we're doing it. So if you're in a senior center or, you know, a housing community or whatever, and you've got a room with internet and a screen, then you sign up with us. You just, you know, plug in your computer at that time or a few minutes before that time, and then just show what we're showing. So you just basically are just, you know, you're just showing our material.
So it's not a situation where people can be in their own homes and be watching it on, like we do Zoom things, you know.
If you want to join, I mean, you can obviously do that as an individual for free. So the subscription thing is if you want to use this for a group activity. Yeah, as a group activity. Yeah. If you want to join, if you just want to join us as an individual, totally free. You just call us, sign up. You're in your pajamas and you go on your computer, click the link if you want to do it that way. Or you can call in if you don't have, you know, if you only have the phone. But yeah, that would be an online experience. You know, that would be like a Zoom group. It would be like that because, you know, those groups do lend themselves to more of an online experience because there's visuals that go along with it. So when you're watching museums, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen here, but when you're watching, you know, if you're in our museum group, The whole screen is, you know, you're watching the exhibition on screen. So that is more of a visual experience, and it does make more sense to join online. Obviously, not everyone's able to join online, you know that. So folks that aren't able to join online, we will physically mail you all of those images ahead of time. So you sign up, you say, hey, I want to go to New York MoMA next, 3 weeks on Wednesday, and we'll send you the images ahead of time so you can follow along at home on the phone. Like I said, we're all about, accessibility. But if you're online, like you guys all are, then yeah, you would sign up. We send you you'll get the email that morning with the link. Click on the link a few minutes before the group, and there you're in the group, and you'll be seeing the exhibition online.
And if we, for instance, I mean, I'm very interested in, registering and getting the catalog and everything so I can kind of see everything. But also, is it the kind of thing where would it be okay for us to say, list some of your things if we think it would be something our people would like on our calendar, so then they could more easily get to register and see something, if we handpick some things that we thought people might like, put and list them on our calendar and how they get connected. Would that be an appropriate thing for us to do?
You could certainly list events and give the number to have how to register with us. You see, because folks would have to register with us in advance. But if you wanted to just, post. And I think I did talk to Susan about you guys having having a little blurb in your newsletter that just sort of tells people, hey, this is what it is, sign up. And so you might have a little blurb in your newsletter that tells members about us, and that would be great. And then folks can just contact us on their own, and we can send them all of the information. If you wanted to like advertise specific events, with how to join, or even just, you certainly could. We've had people do this too. We've had people make Facebook pages and highlight one of our groups, but then just with our phone number and thing because we obviously we don't give all of our material away for free to anyone across the country. So so you have to just call the number and sign up first.
Like sometimes we cross list something from Ashby Village, but
Sure.
they're going through the Ashby Village,
Yes,
and everything.
And I know we've been, at least once, we've had an article in the Village to Village newsletter. So that one goes to all the villages. So I know we've been highlighted in there once, but it may be time to do that again. Because it makes sense to just spread the word and let everyone know that it's available.
Annette, I believe Cynthia has a question.
Hi, Annette, it's nice to see you sort of face to face, to meet you. So we have emailed back and forth. I'm in charge of the calendar for the programs and the events and the excursions and stuff. So what we have done, and I think this is how we first started talking about you as a speaker, because Susan was aware of your organization, Covia, and what great offerings, and we were going to start, and she had suggested we should put these on our calendar. And then it was like, well, we should ask Annette if she would come and explain what the program is and how it works. But what we would do, like, I'm particularly interested in the museum tour of New York MoMA would be fabulous. But so how we have done it in the past is we just would take your information and put it on the calendar for that, whatever day that is or whatever time. And then when people clicked on that, it would go, well, this is a Covia offering, and this is the number or the email. This is how you register. So all we really do is just publicize it.
Publicizing it. Sure.
Yeah, and then so our link then would send them straight to your link.
Right.
And people, we've been doing this for a while, so I think our membership pretty much understands that they just click on it and it goes to like a whole, like my TV when I moved to Netflix, it goes, you are moving to a third party outside organization. So I think they get it. If that would be that's I think what Helen was talking, or Diane.
Yeah, you could say,
Just a couple of things. We would not try to do the whole thing, but just some things that are really different from what we offer would be great.
Oh yeah, that would be wonderful.
That'd be okay. Because we don't want to get into any proprietary.
That would definitely be okay. We would just need to figure out the details of how that would work. But if individuals are signing up and you're just publicizing our program through a specific event, then I don't see any problem with that.
Yeah, no, they would look at the calendar entry and see your organization.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, any more questions? All right, well, it's past 11:30 and I want to thank Annette very much for being our speaker today. And I was just blown away by all the stuff that you're doing. And it was very nice to know. Thank you.
Well, spread the word, folks.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely spread the word. And if you
We're
want
all going to the MoMA.
Yeah, that's what I want. Yeah,
I know. Everybody loves MoMA, but actually, I mean, we have really great museums. I don't want to brag, but that's my favorite thing on Welcome.
And I have a friend in South Dakota, so I'm going to send her your information.
Yay! Yes.
Good.
Maybe we can get all 50 states.
Yes. Thank you, Cynthia.
You bet.
Again, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. You all have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.